Ladies and gentlemen, in just a few days, Lisa Su and AMD will bear all at their Computex event, and I'm sure we can all agree that it will be absolutely nothing short of fascinating to see exactly what the performance of Zen 5, and I think most of us would be focused on the Granite Ridge lineup of Zen 5 processors will end up being, in terms of IPC, clock frequency, the pricing, which isn't to do with the performance, but still, and many of the architectural details have been the subject of a lot of discussion online, and it will be very interesting indeed to see how the chips fall, if you excuse the pun, versus Intel's upcoming processors. With that said, as we are entering the final, couple of days now before the conference, there are a lot of leaks that have started to appear. In fact, today I was going to initially have off, but there are a couple of slides that have appeared online, and I did want to just go through them real quick with you. I don't know whether they are legitimate or not. I haven't had a chance to speak to people about this. However, multiple sites are covering this, so I'm going to leave it down to you in the comments below. Do you think they're legitimate? And well, I guess we'll find out pretty soon anyway because of the official conference. So credit to Code Commando on Twitter. Now, one thing that does slightly irk me about these slides, basically speaking, they kind of seem in the wrong order. Now, slides obviously are pretty easy to fake, especially with something like this, but you can see that the 9700X is above the 9600, the 9950 is above the 9900, so that is a slight eyebrow raiser, but I mean, who knows. Regardless, the clock frequency is 5.7 GHz for the highest end slide with 16 cores, 32 threads, and 80 megabytes of cache total with 170 watts TDP. You can see that other SKUs, for example, will reduce the power consumption, as you would expect, and the clock frequency will go down a little bit as well, with the 9600X bringing up the rear, and yes, that's what she said, at 5.4 GHz and 6 cores, 12 threads, 65 watts, and a whopping 38 megabytes of cache. Now, according to videocards.com, Ryzen 5000 XT sources close to the briefing have confirmed the authenticity of the slide, and that AMD will also be releasing the Ryzen 750-700 XT and the Ryzen 9 5900 XT. These basically are running at higher clock frequencies, and the really interesting thing is that this is going to be on the AM4 platform. So, despite all of the reports to the contrary, AM4 is not dead yet. In fact, it seems that AMD are going to continue to support this legacy platform, and honestly, I kind of don't blame them. Like, AM4 has lots of legs left in it. If you have a reasonable GPU to pair this with, and pretty decent memory, of course, it's still absolutely fine for gaming. And I think that, it's going to be like 2024, 2025, 2026 before people really start to even want to upgrade. Like, honestly, if you have like a 5950X, for example, that is one of the highest end variants you can get, but still, like, I think even if you're doing content creation or something like that, why would you upgrade anytime soon? Even if Zen 5 is significantly better, let's just say hypothetically it's 20% faster IPC-wise than Zen 4, and obviously Zen 4 had those marginal gains over Zen 3, well, slightly better than marginal. It's like, yeah, even if you say that it's 40% better for hypothetically Zen 5, it's a lot of cache, and honestly, if you're playing games at 4K, it's really the GPU that oftentimes is the limiting factor anyway. But wait, as they say, there is more. Now, another interesting slide that popped out, and this one is actually kind of courtesy of Aurorus. So basically, WNXOD on Twitter has basically leaked these slides, and I won't verbally go through all of them here because it's going to take a while. However, what it essentially does is that we are looking at confirmation essentially of the various SKUs, so that's the 9950X, 9900X, and so forth. But also, there are a few confirmations that we pretty much knew anyway. For example, it mentions here that the CCD is produced on the 4nm process, nothing really too interesting there. And it also seems to imply that there are various improvements, including clock frequency. Again, I will be very, very interested to see how Zen 5 ends up performing. I will be very curious to see whether there's a difference in performance between Turin, which of course is for the server, versus the Ryzen, and I mean, of course, in terms of the IPC here, I don't mean obviously in like multi-thread performance, because Turin has just a couple of additional CPU cores available to it, which might slightly improve the performance. Either way, let me know your thoughts and opinions of this one. I also mentioned in a video from a few days ago that I've been hearing absolutely no confirmation that RDNA 4 will be present at Computex. In fact, I'm hearing rather quite the opposite, and RDNA 4 will perhaps not be announced until later this year, or maybe even not until next year. And one thing that's making me really think that this is true is just the complete absence of anything concerning RDNA 4 from any of these leaks. And we are so damn close at this point to Computex, I really do not think RDNA 4 is going to be present. I would obviously love to be wrong, because I really do want to see some details of AMD's upcoming GPU architecture. I'm just saying that I personally would not be holding my breath. Of course, Computex is just a few days away, and there are a lot of interesting things happening in the tech industry. Obviously, you've got various conferences from, well, everyone in terms of tech, but there are also a lot of gaming things. Obviously, Sony just had the State of Play. Xbox is going to host their conference. When was it, the 8th or the 9th? Someone correct me in the comments down below. And I think that's going to be very interesting. Personally, I am, really hopeful that the new Gears is going to be announced, because I'm a huge fan of Gears. But that's just about it for this video. Again, hopefully you've enjoyed it. Take care of yourselves, guys. Bye for now.